This color wheel represents the work of a couple of forgotten color theorists I want to talk about. Elizabeth Hoppin Lewis was an artist and art educator active about 100 years ago. She's also the color theorist you've never heard of because her timing was kind of bad.
But she's got the RGB triangle encompassing this hue circle. You don't have red and green opposite each other. You have them at these angles where they are pointing to the corners of the RGB triangle. What this is a very bold marriage of the two competing color theories up to 1931. 1931, by the way, is the year the CIE publishes the chromaticity diagram, which sort of becomes the foundation for modern color science. That means this was the last year that somebody could have published something based on the previous generation's theory. So the four psychological primaries, this idea comes from Ewald Hering's opponent process theory, which was actually introduced in the late 19th century as a rival theory to the trichromatic theory. You've got one theory saying RGB are the primaries, and you've got another theory saying red, yellow, green, blue are the primaries. Like, it wasn't until the 1960s and 70s that the CIE was coming out with these LAB and LUV and these different models where you've got the yellow-blue opposition pole and the red-green opposition pole structuring a sort of perceptual color space. She's anticipating that by a few decades by trying to get these two theories talking to each other. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Oh. So here's, her opponent hues, red, green, yellow, blue. The blue is like an ultramarine blue. That tracks with trichromatic theory for sure. Look how beautifully printed the colors are. The texture of these prints. Wow, that's really quite beautiful actually. Some of these are blends, like this guy you can see a little bit of yellow around the edge. So what it looks like is probably a set of 6 spot colors. And they've remained so incredibly vivid, probably because it's sat in this envelope for most of those 90 years. This chart unites the Helmholtz-Koenig spectrum triad, so RGB, and the Ladd-Franklin 4 unitary color sensations. Wow, Ladd-Franklin theory. This has got to be the only color wheel ever published based on Ladd-Franklin theory. We got to talk about that.
The story of Christine Ladd Franklin is one worth knowing. She completed the work to earn a PhD at Johns Hopkins University, but because she was a woman, they wouldn't give her the degree. I mean, like years later, retroactively they did, but at the time, they would not give her that doctorate. She became interested in evolution and color vision and proposed this theory that supported Hering's opponent process model. In a nutshell, if you look at the history of evolution, you see that most mammals are dichromatic. They are like dogs. They have yellow-blue vision, but no red-green contrast. And so she was looking at that and evolution, and she was saying that color vision that we have now must be based in the opponent process model because of how color vision evolved. Of course, the current science on the evolution of human color vision is a bit more complicated, but Ladd Franklin published her theory in 1929. The American Association for the Advancement of Science only published its statement in support of evolution in 1922. Ladd Franklin was cutting edge. She died in 1930, so she'd never get to see either Lewis's color wheel or the development of CIE color spaces, but I wonder what she would have thought. You can find a link to high-resolution scans of the color chart on my Linktree. If you want to learn more about Ladd Franklin and her work on color theory, you can read about it in the Book of Color Concepts that was published by Toshin earlier this year. You can grab a copy through the affiliate link on my Linktree.